Good afternoon, everybody. It's Steve Lookner with Right Side Broadcasting coming to you with a news alert. The FBI and a lot of local police forces are responding to an incident of some sort at Lambeau Field, the home of the Green Bay Packers. Not sure exactly what this incident was, but a photo coming out, or photos coming out of the field, you can see one right here above me, has a car on top of another car. Also just heard that, let me show you this. A bomb squad has arrived at Lambeau Field. You can see right there, WBAY TV reporting, bomb squad arrives at Lambeau Field. There's also Albo Breaking News posts that there's a large police presence in response to at Lambeau Field. So, and let's see here. And here was a tweet a little while ago from Jeff Bollier that says, law enforcement is focused attention on the loading dock area at the south end of Lambeau Field. K-9 officer on the scene too. So I heard this morning a report said that fans had been invited this morning to shovel snow at Lambeau Field. I guess that's a common thing there. When there's snow in the stadium, the fans are invited to come help shovel snow. But now we have law enforcement on the scene. I think there's going to be a press conference shortly. I'm going to try to bring that to you. Yes, so hopefully I can bring you the press conference. It's supposed to start any minute now. I'm keeping an eye on it. So when that starts, I'll let you know. Maybe we can get some more answers about what exactly happened or is happening at Lambeau Field. Also heard a report that one suspect is in custody. Let me just check the sound here. Sounds like you're hearing me okay. But now we have, good. So again, Lambeau Field, an hour or two ago, lots of law enforcement just started showing up at Lambeau Field, home of the Green Bay Packers, where fans had been shoveling snow. There's this picture of a car on top of another car. Let me see if I can get you more pictures of that. Here is another shot of some, from Fox 6 News, of some police presence there at Lambeau Field. You can see lots of police cars and law enforcement. Oh, here we go. This is new. I hadn't seen this. So this came out about a half hour ago. But again, there's supposed to be a press conference at any time now. So we're going to try to bring you the press conference when that happens live. But here's a tweet from Rob Demovsky, and it says, it would appear the situation at Lambeau Field has been calmed. Source said a former stadium worker, not in the football department, tried to gain access to the loading dock. Local police expected to address the media soon. Now, I'm a little confused as to how... First of all, let me retweet this. I'm a little confused what this would have to do with the one car on top of another car photo, which several people had posted supposedly from Lambeau Field this morning. So let me hold on a second. What I'll do first is I'll pull up this ESPN article, see if there's anything more here. Oh, that's all that was. Is he just posted it on ESPN. That was not a help. Okay, hang on a second here. And again, waiting for that press conference. We should be able to bring that to you, I think. So I'll keep checking on that and let you know as soon as I see it. Here is another shot. So this is another shot of that car at Lambeau Field. Photo from the scene at Lambeau Field shows van on top of vehicles in parking lot. So why would that be the case? Also, we saw a tweet that the bomb squad was called there and lots of police presence there. So don't really know. It seems like this person said, well, it was just a former worker who tried to gain access to the loading dock. This looks like a little more than trying to gain access through the loading dock. Now, maybe this is unrelated. I don't know. It just seems like quite a coincidence if that's going on, and then you have police and FBI and a bomb squad showing up. So we're just going to try to keep you up to date and try to get some answers here. If you hear anything that I haven't reported on, let me know at Lookner on Twitter, at Lookner, and I can share it with our audience. And also, you're watching Right Side Broadcasting right now, by the way. Thank you so much to our moderators for moderating our chat room. If you do like our coverage, if you like that we're on the air live about this, I don't know if there's anybody else on the air live about it, you can support Right Side Broadcasting. We are viewer-supported. You can donate to us if you want to keep us on the air. At the bottom of the YouTube chat, there's a little $sign at the bottom of the YouTube chat, and you can click on the $sign to donate, or just go to rsbn.tv/donate, rsbn.tv/donate. We're viewer-supported. Your donations keep us on the air. All right, let's try to get you more updates here, and I'm Again, waiting for this press conference. Hopefully when the police give a press conference, which is supposed to be any time now, we will get some answers about what happened or is happening at Lambeau Field, home of the Green Bay Packers. I mean, this happened, and bomb squad called. I mean, look, again, WBAY-TV, bomb squad arrives at Lambeau Field. So we're not really sure what is the deal there at Lambeau Field this morning or today. To repeat, fans were reportedly called to help shovel off the snow from Lambeau Field today, but this has happened. Okay, I'm just checking to see if I can find more information for you. And I have seen reports that one is in custody. So KARE11 is saying one is in custody after incident outside of Lambeau Field. Not sure what that person's in custody for. Hopefully we'll get some answers soon. Awaiting a press conference about it. Multiple law enforcement and emergency agencies are investigating the incident. Here, let me just show you this story from KARE11. Police roped off the parking lot there. You can see in that photo. One person is in custody after an incident involving multiple car collisions. Interesting. The incident involved multiple car collisions. So I hadn't heard that before. We saw a car on top of another car, but this has an incident involving multiple car collisions. Multiple law enforcement and emergency agencies are investigating the incident, which began just after 1 p.m., I assume Green Bay time. Police have cordoned off the southern end of the stadium parking lot where multiple cars are damaged. Okay, I'm going to have to tweet this out. Multiple car collisions and multiple cars damaged. So KARE11. Hang on a second. I'm just going to tweet this out. KARE11. Lambeau Field incident involved multiple car collisions and multiple cars are damaged. So that's something. That's a new piece of information I hadn't seen. Jeff Bollier tweets out, Chief Andrew Smith says Lambeau Field lot a huge crime scene right now. One suspect in custody tried to drive into loading dock and hit several vehicles. No injuries, no weapons other than vehicle. All right. Let's look at that again. I'm going to retweet that. Again, according to Jeff Bollier, a suspect is in custody, tried to drive into the loading dock and hit several vehicles. Now, we saw this other tweet that said, from Rob Domofsky, that said a former stadium worker, not in the football department, tried to gain access to the loading dock. So if you put these two together, is it possible that a former stadium worker tried to force his way into the stadium by driving through the loading dock and then hit a bunch of cars? Still waiting on that press conference. Hopefully we should be able to bring that to you as soon as it starts and get some answers on this incident at Lambeau Field. What we know is that bomb squad has been called, police has been called, FBI is investigating it. We've heard reports like this. We've seen the photos like this of a car on top of another car. We've heard this report from Jeff Bollier that a car tried to drive into the loading dock and hit several vehicles. One person's in custody. He said the Chief Smith said no weapons were involved other than the vehicle and no injuries were reported. Two people who work inside the stadium said they were told that a man driving a car hit one car, which became wedged under a minivan, then drove into the stadium's loading dock where he hit a booth and then crashed to a stop. Wow, that's kind of odd. Let's look at that again. Two people who work inside the stadium said they were told that a man driving a car hit one car, which became wedged under a minivan, and then drove into the stadium's loading dock where he hit a booth and then crashed to a stop. So it looks like, we've seen these pictures of this car, the car on top of another car. So I guess what these witnesses are saying is that you can see there's a black car minivan on top of a blue car. Well, I think what the witnesses are saying is that this person drove into the blue car and that somehow wedged the blue car under the minivan. And then the person who hit the blue car just kept driving and drove into the loading dock and then drove into a booth and crashed. And then all the police started showing up. Yeah, it says that. So Jeff Bollier says that explains how the van ended up with its tail in the air. Here's another picture from Jeff Bollier. The Brown County Bomb Squad has arrived at Lambeau Field. So we're just waiting for this press conference to try to get more of a firm word on what happened here at Lambeau Field this morning, or I guess afternoon. It was 1 o'clock when this happened. Still waiting on that. As soon as I can get that up there, I will. If you have any new news on this that you're seeing out there, give me a shout on Twitter at Lookner, at Lookner. Let me know. I can share it with our audience. Pistol Whipped writes, so many mixed reports coming out about this. Well, hopefully we get that press conference soon so we can clarify what's going on. Thanks again to our moderators. We got Webster in the chat room moderating right now. So thank you, Webster, for keeping things under control. Let me see if I can find anything else out about this. Julie H. says, hey, Steve, I've been listening to Brown County, Wisconsin police scanner regarding Lambeau incident. They currently have a hazmat crew there in addition to the FBI. Thank you, Julie, for writing in. Okay, what else can I find for you while we wait for that press conference to start? Let me keep checking. So to repeat, putting together what we saw, you know, we've seen this picture. There's a picture right there. That's a blue car under, looks like a black or dark colored minivan. And then the KARE story said that two people who work inside the stadium said they were told a man driving a car hit one car, which I think is the blue car in this photo. The idea is that the car hit the blue car and then it wedged it under the minivan. So the person driving wasn't in the minivan or the blue car. They hit the blue car, wedged it under the minivan, and then reportedly they tried to drive into the stadium through the loading dock, hit another car, hit at least one more car, and then crashed in the loading dock area, and then all the police came. One report said this was a former employee. I'm not sure of that. Agencies at the stadium include the Brown County Sheriff's Office, Green Bay Police Department, State Patrol, and the Green Bay Metro Fire Department. We've also seen Bomb Squad there and heard that there was also a report of, oh yeah, here it is. I mean, we saw the picture of the Bomb Squad from Jeff Bollier. You can see it says Bomb Squad right on it. That picture right there, the Bomb Squad. So a little confusing what's happening at the moment, or what was happening. And hopefully this press conference will start at some point and we can get you more firm answers. If you hear anything else, give me a shout on Twitter at Lookner, at Lookner. Sorry, at Lookner. Our moderator, well, he's not moderating right now, but one of our usual moderators, JC, writes, hey, Steve, is that how cars are born? Okay, let me check some different sources here to try to get more updated information on this, if I can. Such an odd story. I'm seeing some people are posting kind of making fun at Fox 10 Phoenix because they called it Lambeau Field Airport. So Sarah Riley says, not in any way making light of the situation at Lambeau Field, but in Fox 10 Phoenix just made my entire day with this caption. It says Lambeau Field Airport. It is not Lambeau Field Airport. It is Lambeau Field where the Green Bay Packers play. Here's another shot of some police vehicles from Rob Domofsky. He says part of the Lambeau Field parking lot was just taped off by the Brown County Sheriff after an incident in the parking lot. That was about an hour ago when he posted that. Okay, just trying to get more up-to-date information about this. So we're still waiting for the police press conference. We were planning on giving that to you live as soon as it starts. Does this have new information? Here's the article from WSMV in Nashville. This is the AP story, apparently. One person is in custody, possible disturbance with a vehicle. One person was arrested. Police plan an afternoon news conference, which we're waiting for. Okay, nothing new in that article. By the way, if you you're watching Right Side Broadcasting, we're covering this incident at Lambeau Field. If you like breaking news coverage, subscribe to us on YouTube and click the notifications bell so you get notified whenever we're coming on the air. We do these breaking news videos all the time. Cover a lot of stories sometimes that the mainstream media doesn't cover much. So subscribe to us on YouTube. Also, you can follow us on Facebook at Right Side Broadcasting and on Twitter at RSB Network. I am on Twitter at @Lookner. I post about breaking news all the time, so you can follow me if you like breaking news at @Lookner. And again, we are viewer supported, so if you like Right Side Broadcasting, please consider making a donation. Even small donations really help us out. That's what keeps us on the air. You can go to the bottom of the YouTube chat, click on the $ at the bottom of the YouTube chat, or go to rsbn.tv/donate, rsbn.tv/donate. Ooh, here's another shot of that car from Minneapolis News Chan. There you can see the mini, I guess looks like a Ford minivan, or is it Kia minivan on top of it's a blue car, and we saw a report saying that a car bashed into a blue car. The blue car got wedged under this minivan. Then the car that hit it continued on and hit another car and then tried to drive its way into the stadium through the loading dock and crashed in the loading dock. That's what we're hearing. We heard a couple reports that this was a former employee of the Packers or the field driving the car. We can't confirm that yet. So they are, you can see here, we're still waiting for the press conference. It should begin shortly. This person, Shelby DeLuke, says, waiting for a press briefing about the emergency situation at Lambeau Field. So hopefully we can bring that to you when it starts. We'll keep an eye on it. In the meantime, if you're hearing anything new about this, give me a shout on Twitter at Lookner, at Lookner. Oh, Randy Haney told me to check out Green Bay crime reports, so why don't I do that? Hang on one second here. So here are some tweets from Green Bay crime reports. Thank you, Randy, for giving me the heads up. No weapon, no injuries, they are saying. Ooh, here's some video. Look at this. Look at this video from Green Bay crime reports.
Of course they are.
Let's see if they have anything else here. They're saying, Green Bay Crime Reports 28 minutes ago is saying no injuries reported, no weapons found. They have some other reports from the scene. That's Green Bay Crime Reports. Still waiting for that press conference? Oh, Josh wrote me that supposedly the press conference will begin in 2 minutes. I am keeping my eye on it as we speak. So we're going to try to bring that to you. Nancy Mattis writes, and glad you're on. Fox News could care less. Huh, surprise, surprise. Okay, let's see. I have my eye on it. As soon as it starts, we should be able to bring it to you. Oh, hold on a second. I'm going to try to go to it right now. Hang on 1 second. Let's go to it.
You come up here because I'm going to put this on Facebook.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Chief Andrew Smith with the Green Bay Police Department. I'm here to talk about an incident that occurred this afternoon at Lambeau Field, which is in the city of Green Bay. At about 1:06 this afternoon, we started receiving 911 calls that there was originally came out as an active shooter on the ramp area of Lambeau Field. Our officers responded and were on scene at 1:11, and by 1:12, the suspect was in custody. It turns out, as we believe now, that there was no active shooter, but this was a dispute that originated between two employees of a contracting agency who are working in the food service department and working for an agency that contracts food services for the folks over at Lambeau. The suspect in custody has been described as a male Asian. He's about 20 years old, and he's a resident of Green Bay, and until the beginning of December, he was an employee of a food service agency, a contracted vendor at Lambeau. Apparently, he was involved in a disturbance on December 3rd with a fellow employee, and that was a physical altercation, and he was ultimately fired from his employment at this food service agency. Earlier this afternoon, we believe he came to the Green Bay Police Department. He wanted to make a report. About 20 minutes after making that report at the police department, he drove down to the field, and he located in the parking lot, in the southeast corner of the parking lot, he located the employee that he had the original dispute with. That employee was seated in his vehicle. The suspect used his own vehicle to ram the victim's vehicle, driving that vehicle into another van that was parked in front of him. A total of 5 vehicles were damaged during the course of this event, and the suspect chased the victim, who had since got out of his vehicle, chased the victim down to the ramp in the southeast corner, Lambeau Field. The suspect was in his vehicle chasing the victim who was on foot, and he chased him down into the loading dock area. Now, if you're familiar with that area, the loading dock has a big steel arm that raises and lowers. Well, they were moving trucks in and out of there. That arm was temporarily up. That's how he was able to gain access to that private, secured area down there. At some point, the suspect drove his vehicle down the ramp, up a ramp that leads into Lambeau Field and into the field itself, not on the playing field, but in the storage rooms nearby, and crashed his vehicle into a storage room inside. At this point, that vehicle is still inside the building. Our bomb squad technicians from the Brown County Bomb Squad are inside searching that vehicle now. Folks from the Green Bay Metro Fire Department Hazmat have also been called out to take a look at that. Again, there was no shots fired. Nobody was injured in this incident. The suspect is in custody. There's no danger to anybody else. We didn't even lock down the entire stadium because this was an isolated incident that was occurring at the southeast corner of the stadium. As of now, we have not located a weapon. As I mentioned, our original 911 call said that there was a weapon involved. We have not found a weapon. We have no evidence that any weapon was fired. The police agencies that responded are, of course, the Green Bay Police Department, who's going to be the lead agency since this occurred in the city of Green Bay, Ashwaubenon Public Safety, Brown County Sheriff's Department, Wisconsin State Patrol, Green Bay Metro Fire Department is also on scene, and we are being assisted by agents of the Federal Bureau of Investigation, Green Bay Field Office. I have Chief Litton from the Fire Department here. I have Aaron Popke, the Packers Director of Public Affairs, here to answer any other questions you guys have, but is there any other questions I can answer at this time?
The other individual, the victim, where is he right now? Is he being talked to by police?
The victim is being interrogated and interviewed by the Green Bay detectives, Green Bay Police Department detectives right now. He's fine. He understands this is going to be a long process because there's a lot of information we have to get out of him about the original dispute and about all the things that occurred today. The field, that section of the field is temporarily closed because it's a very large crime scene between the place where the vehicles collided and the original assault started and where the vehicle finally came to rest is a rather large area. So that area will be closed for a considerable length of time this afternoon until we conclude our investigation. We don't anticipate in any way that it's going to affect tomorrow's game. As I mentioned, this employee was not an employee of the Packers. He was not an employee of Lambeau Field. He worked for a private contracting agency that did food services there. There's absolutely nothing with tomorrow's game that's going to be affected at all. Obviously, whenever we have an incident like this, and before every game, we review all our procedures. We meet with all the involved agencies to talk about anything that's changed. Obviously, this is going to be a topic of discussion for us tomorrow, but nothing's going to happen, and I can assure you tomorrow is going to be as safe as any other game at Lambeau.
Will there be up security at all? It's an isolated incident, sounds like, but will there be more security?
I don't think we'll be deploying additional officers. We may change some of our security profile. We may move some officers around after we get a full analysis of everything that happened here today. But that's standard. We do that after every game. We look where we had our officers, where we could better utilize them to be more efficient, to be more secure. We do that every game. We'll do it this game as well.
And that gate that he went through, that's not damaged, right? Where everybody comes
My understanding is the gate was either up or in the process of being moved up because another vehicle was coming through when that suspect drove that car, which was a white Trans Am. He drove it underneath the gate, so the gate was not damaged.
Chief, it was a Delaware North employee, is that correct?
I can't verify that for sure. It was one of the vending companies. That may be the name of the company.
You said the whole stadium wasn't evacuated. Do you know how many people were evacuated?
Correct. We really didn't evacuate anybody. From the time the 911 call came out at 1:06 to the time the suspect was in custody was a total of 6 minutes. It went very, very quickly. We had we had the suspect in custody, and we had a victim safely secured within about 6 minutes. So the atrium was still open, the food service areas were still open, the Packers Pro Shop was still open. We didn't shut that down, and we really didn't see a need to shut that down, and we really didn't see a need to evacuate anybody out of the rest of the stadium as well.
Can you talk a little bit, 6 minutes, that's quick. Can you talk about that a little bit, about your officer?
Yeah, 6 minutes is pretty darn good, I think. Anybody be happy with a 6-minute response time to have him in custody that quickly. Our officers responded right away. It sounds like they were pretty close to the field when this incident occurred, and 2 of our officers were in there within just about 5 minutes. They were inside the loading dock area, and a minute later he was in custody. They captured him as he had abandoned his vehicle and was walking away from his vehicle on foot when they took him into custody without incident.
After he had already chased the guy?
This is after he'd already chased and after he had crashed his little Trans Am in one of the food service areas down in the loading dock. Now, you can speculate to how he knew the layout of the place. I assumed he worked down there or he spent time down there, so he knew what was down there and how to get from place to place.
Chief, were there still shovelers inside the stadium when this happened?
I don't think so. That'd probably be a good question for Aaron Popke. Do you know if there were still shovelers in the stadium or anybody still working in there?
Not at that time.
Yeah.
We don't know.
Yeah.
So we'll double check that.
Okay. There's a question that came up earlier about schools going on lockdown. We put out a call to lock down the schools right as soon as this incident occurred because there are several schools close by. He was in custody and the situation was secured so quickly that those schools never actually went on lockdown. That's our understanding. So we did some follow-up on that. We determined that we started to put the call out for a lockdown, but because this thing unfolded so quickly and was over so quickly, the schools never did get on lockdown.
Do you know how many phone calls you got in, 911 phone calls?
I know we had several, but I don't know the exact number.
Chief, do you know what type of charges the suspect could face?
Certainly a charge of an assault with a deadly weapon, using that vehicle to ram someone else in their car intentionally and then chasing that person with the vehicle. Certainly felony charges for assault with a deadly weapon. I don't know what the suspect's criminal history is, but it's certainly a very dangerous thing to do. And you could argue that this guy was trying to kill this former coworker.
So I know you said no weapon was found, but you certainly consider that vehicle a weapon.
Correct. By no weapon, when I said earlier, I meant no handgun was found, as we heard in the original call that came out. But certainly a vehicle used like this would be considered a weapon.
You said you
Describe a
didn't
little more about how far he got into the stadium. You said he didn't make it onto the field, but you said
Correct.
the loading dock.
Right. If you're familiar with the loading dock area that has the large arm outside that keeps out regular traffic, then as you go down the ramp, you can go up another ramp, and that'll get you into a secure area. Our police detention area is in there. There's several storage buildings inside of there. So he's able to go up the secondary ramp and get into the structure of Lambeau Field and get into a food service storage area that's in there, and rammed his car into there where he collided with some food that was being stored there. No one was hit, as I mentioned. But he abandoned his car at that point, started to walk out, and he was taken into custody by Green Bay police officers.
Did he reach where Coach McCarthy and Tim Thompson parked? Did it get that far down
I don't know where the coach parks. No.
The answer is no.
No. I think they park in a different area than that. That loading dock is used to.
They have 2 spaces.
Do they down there? Okay. So if,
But it wasn't that far down.
okay.
Thank you.
Chief, so right now you have bomb squad on there. You don't, have they found anything? Are they?
Right. They're continuing to do the search. We have bomb squad and we have the Green Bay Metro Fire hazmat out there. This is being done in an abundance of caution. We don't know what this guy was doing. We don't know what could be in his trunk. And just to be on the safe side to protect all the employees there, protect our officers, we send the bomb squad in there. They're going to make sure that there's no device or anything there. I have no indication that there's a device. Nobody said there was a device or anything else. We just want to do that. We just want to be sure and keep our folks as safe as we can.
Aaron, can you talk a little bit about the Packers' perspective, reactions, how police reacted, how quickly they got this under control, that sort of thing?
Sure. Any other questions?
Anything else for me, and I'll let him step up here? Okay, super.
Checking on that question regarding the shovelers too. But with respect to the incident today, the Green Bay Packers want to thank everyone with Green Bay Police Department and Green Bay Fire, Ashwaubenon, Brown County, all law enforcement agencies that reacted and are on the scene now. We appreciate their great help and cooperation. We work with them year round, as many of you know. They do a great job on game day and every day with keeping all of us safe at Lambeau Field and reacted accordingly in this situation. So very pleased about that.
Doesn't sound like it really interrupted the workday for the Packers at all.
No, as Chief said, it was isolated to that area. We were able to keep open our public areas, atrium, pro shop, restaurants, those types of things. So everything was isolated, and we've got protocols, depending on the situation, that address those things.
Aaron, were the players and coaches still working, or were they done for the day?
Various team personnel were doing different things with respect to their preparation for tomorrow. So unknown who was where and doing what at what time. But we still have people in that area, yes.
The football operation was not interrupted.
Correct. Yeah, and preparations continue for tomorrow.
Aaron, I know it's very early in the aftermath of this, but what type of evaluations do you guys do at this point to prevent it from happening again?
Well, I think we'll work with law enforcement, our own security department, and all our contracted groups to review protocols and the day in, day out operations of the stadium. I mean, that's something that gets done on a regular basis with our organization and many other organizations. So just a matter of how we look through those things. So we'll do a full investigation as to what took place and, of course, see how, if any changes are needed, enact those.
Well, extent of damage. I know that that's still undergoing, and he had a storage compartment. Can you tell us what was in that, or any?
Well, yeah, as Chief mentioned, and many of you who've been in our facility know that area as you go in for covering the team or those areas, but it was down near our commissary, food service area. With respect to any damage, undetermined at this point. In speaking with all the parties that help us operate on a game day, there'll be no issues there, no delays, no anything like that. A lot of preparation takes place several days out, so a lot of game prep was already complete, but anything that needs to be completed for tomorrow, we'll have no problem doing that.
Is this a first for Lambeau Field? Can you think of anything even remotely similar that's happened either before or during your time with the team?
With respect to something of this nature, I think it's probably fair to say, Kevin, something of this nature, yeah, first.
All right, if you don't have any other questions, we'll go ahead and wrap it up. We won't be doing a further, any follow-up press things. If anybody has any questions, they can contact the watch commander. There's a lot of interviews that need to be done. Anybody that was a witness outside, anybody that saw this guy chase this victim, we want to interview them. So we have a team of detectives and officers that are out there doing exactly that. So it's going to be a while before that particular part of the parking lot is cleared and all these folks get interviewed. So if you need an update later on tonight, watch commander at the Green Bay Police Department will be able to provide that. Okay.
Were the players told anything, or were they there at the time of the incident?
Not in any formal capacity. As Chief said, everything was isolated, so they didn't need to be told.
Chief, I'm sorry, I forgot to ask earlier. Did you elaborate at all, or can you elaborate at all on the police report that the suspect filed? I don't know if you did and I missed that, or if you were able to.
Yeah, I'm still looking into that. Apparently, about 20 minutes before he came and talked about what he believes to be maybe wrongfully terminated or something like that. We have not talked to the officer that he spoke with in the lobby of our station, but 20 minutes after he left our station, he located the victim and started crashing his car into his vehicle.
And what time approximately did this happen?
This thing started at 1:06. That's when the first 911 call came out. The officers were on scene at 1:11, and the suspect was in custody at 1:12. Okay, thanks, everybody.
Okay, that was the press conference from the local police in Green Bay. I don't know if that's called the Green Bay Police or not, but here's what we heard. Here's what we heard about the incident at Lambeau Field. Let me see if I can sum that up for you. So it sounded like there was a guy who used to work for a food service contractor at the stadium. I don't know if this is the food service company that prepares the food for Lambeau Field or they sell the food for Lambeau Field, but there's some food service contractor who works at Lambeau Field where the Green Bay Packers are and where the Green Bay Packers play. A couple weeks ago, this former employee of this food service company got in some sort of altercation with a coworker who also worked for the food service company. And after that altercation with a coworker, the first worker was fired. So we have this worker who, I think it was 2 or 3 weeks ago, if I'm remembering right, was fired from a food service company that worked at Lambeau Field. Today, what happened is he first went to a police station. I think he said the officer in the press conference said something like he was going to report the incident with his coworker or try to press charges or something. I would need to go back and watch that. But anyways, he goes to the police station and then 20 minutes later he shows up at the stadium where the coworker he originally got into that altercation is working today. The guy who got fired from the job after the altercation with the coworker takes his Trans Am. He was driving, I think, a white Trans Am. He takes his white Trans Am and he rams it into the coworker's car. And I believe the coworker's car, I think, might have been that blue vehicle. I think if I'm remembering right, the coworker's car was the blue vehicle. And the first coworker who'd been fired rammed the car of the coworker he'd gotten into the altercation with, and that altercation got him fired. He rammed the car of the coworker. The coworker's car got wedged under that under the van. So in theory, I think the coworker's car that got rammed was the blue one right here, and that got stuck under the minivan. Then after that, the coworker. Then I don't know if the coworker was in the car or not. But after that, the guy in the white Trans Am, after hitting this car, tried to run down the coworker who was on foot. The guy in the white Trans Am chases the coworker who's running or walking or running, and the guy in the white Trans Am is trying to run him over. And this chase goes into the field. So the guy in the white Trans Am tries to run over his coworker. He drives into the loading dock area, and I guess some kind of gate was open, which sometimes isn't open, but it was open. And then he crashes into some storage area for some food. He didn't actually go on the playing field, according to the police, but he crashes into some storage area for the food. And then he gets out of the car, and when he's on foot, the cops get there. The cops, it only took him about 6 minutes to get there. So basically, to sum up more briefly what happened, a dude who had worked at a food service company that worked at Lambeau Field and had gotten fired after he had gotten in a fight with a coworker, today shows up at the field, rams the coworker's car, tries to run over the coworker with his own car, and in doing so, hits a bunch of cars. I forget how many cars got hit, but he said there were a bunch of cars hit. 5 vehicles were damaged, and then he tries to run over the coworker with his car, and then drives into Lambeau Field and crashes through the loading dock and crashes into some food storage containers or storage. What did he say? I don't know if I have the exact phrase here, but it was some sort of storage rooms, he said. So crashed into some storage area where the food is. Wow. So kind of crazy. And now the bomb squad is checking his car. They're just saying as a precaution, just to make sure he didn't bring any bombs or anything. But it just seemed like a guy was upset at a coworker who he'd gotten in a fight with, few weeks ago, and he gotten fired after that fight. And today he showed up at the field where the coworker was still working, and he tried to run over the coworker and also rammed his car. So pretty crazy. I mean, basically it's an attempted murder. It sounds like. I mean, it sounded to me. The officer said the guy was trying to chase down his coworker. The coworker was on foot. The guy trying to chase him down was in his Trans Am. That kind of. I mean. Assault was with a deadly weapon is said, the officer said, is one of the things the guy will be charged with. But it sounds like attempted murder to me. Well, I don't know, if you're trying to run over somebody with your car. So pretty crazy. What do you think about the story? Write to me on Twitter at Lookner. Let me know. I want to hear what you think about all this. And real quick, I just want to thank a few people donated. JC made a donation. Thank you. JC says, we thank and salute all of our patriots, vets, and first responders that have kept America land of the free and home of the brave. Please thank a vet every chance you get. Thank you, JC. And yes, of course, thank all the police and first responders and the vets as well. And we also got donations from Josh Leon and Coco Good. They both made donations. Thank you. Those donations keep us on the air. If you want to support Right Side Broadcasting, if you like that we do this kind of coverage, we're viewer supported. You can donate by going to the bottom of the YouTube chat. There's a little dollar sign at the bottom of the YouTube chat. You can click on the dollar sign down there, or go to rsbn.tv/donate, rsbn.tv/donate. And thanks so much to Webster, who's been moderating the chat room today. Thank you, Webster. So I'd love to hear if you guys have thoughts on this story. Pretty crazy here. I have to say, ultimately, the explanation of what happened was even a little more crazy than I thought it would be. I thought what would have happened was something like, there was some sort of speeding thing where somebody was speeding by the stadium and he pulled into the stadium and he rammed into a car. But what we ended up seeing is that a coworker who had somebody who'd gotten fired from a food vendor who works at the stadium came back to the stadium and tried to run over a coworker with his car, and a former coworker with his car. And the former coworker was this coworker he'd gotten in a fight with when he originally had his job for the food vendor, and that fight is what caused the guy to get fired. So he gets in a fight with a coworker, gets fired from his job, and then later, I guess a few weeks later, shows back up at Lambeau Field with his white Trans Am and tries to run over the coworker he got in a fight with. We also heard he was a male Asian about 20 years old. That's what the police officer doing the press conference said. Let's see. Nana writes in, what I question is the security of the stadium. With the threat of terrorism being so high, especially around the holiday, you would think 24 hours before a football game, there should be a strong security presence so you can't even get close to the stadium. Thanks, Nana. Now, I did hear that the stadium... I heard reports that the stadium had asked fans to help come shovel snow today. I guess that's a regular thing at the stadium. When there's snow on the stadium, fans come the day before and help shovel snow. So you can imagine there would have to be some access to the parking lot. But you're saying you think there should be stronger security there, Nana. Josh writes in, they take their food prep very seriously in Packtown. This is what Josh sent me. Let me show you. Josh sent me this. He said, they take their food prep very seriously in Packtown. Wow. That's from our viewer, Josh. Randy Haney wrote me about a report there were weapons there. It turned out the reports of weapons, reports of an active shooter, the police officer said those were false. No weapons were found at the scene except for the car, which was used as an attempted weapon to try to run over somebody else. McClellan writes in, I don't think this will look good on his future resumes. I have to think he'll go to jail. If you're attempting to run over somebody with your car, I would think that's something you end up going to jail for. I would think. Don't hold me to it, but sounds like, in addition to bashing other cars. Oh, and let's see here. Webster. Webster sent me, I think there were a couple of comments here when people donated. Thank you, Webster. Freckles Are Sweet said they donated twice, but it did not mention their donation. I don't know if the donation went through, but thank you, Freckles Are Sweet. We appreciate it. Coco Good said, why is it when the FBI shows up, everything becomes fishy? Nothing to see here. John Leon said, hey, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. Thank you to you two and to JC for donating. We very much appreciate it. All right, last call for comments here before we wrap up the stream. Nancy Mattis said, Steve, could you briefly tell where we are as viewers can submit suggestions for live broadcast? Thank you. Don't worry. So far, I am pleased. Nancy, if you ever want to write to us and submit a suggestion for a live broadcast, best place to do that is feedback@rsbn.tv. Feedback@rsbn.tv. And don't forget, subscribe to us on YouTube and click the notifications bell so you get notified whenever we come on the air. We do these breaking news videos all the time, so subscribe to us on YouTube. Follow us on Facebook, Right Side Broadcasting. We post videos there. Twitter, we're at @RSB Network. And I am on Twitter at @Lookner. I post about breaking news all the time, even when we're not on the air. So you can follow me for breaking news at @Lookner, at LOOKNER. Nancy Mattis says, am I going to hell for laughing at how crazy this story is optics-wise? It is kind of a nutty story. Fortunately, the guy wasn't able to run over his coworker, his former coworker. Yeah, JC wrote in, thank God, no injuries. Okay, I think we're going to wrap up this stream right now. So hope you've enjoyed our live coverage of this story from Green Bay, where a car showed up and tried to run over somebody who was working at the stadium. I won't go through the whole backstory again, but you can go back through this. You can rewind the stream if you want and write it and read it. But read it, listen to it, and watch it. But bunch of cars damaged, one guy arrested in custody, but fortunately nobody hurt. It looks like, which is the good thing. Thank you for saying thank you in the chat room. Case Critter says thanks. Donna Maria, Barry H, Tom O'Neill. Tom O'Neill says, Steve, was this a monster truck rehearsal? Yeah, from the picture. No, Tom, it was not. Jamie B, thanks for saying thank you. Webster, thank you again for being the sole moderator for this stream. Good work, Webster. Barry H, thank you. JC, Elysia, and everybody else out there. Zizor, the American. And keep your eyes on Right Side Broadcasting. We cover breaking news all the time. So subscribe to us if you want to see these live breaking news updates. All right. If there's more breaking news later today, we will be back on the air covering it. But for now, I'm going to sign off. I'm Steve Lookner for Right Side Broadcasting. Safe travels to everybody who's traveling this holiday weekend. Merry Christmas. Happy Hanukkah. Happy holidays. Hanukkah might be over by now. I'm not even sure. But happy holidays to everybody. Be safe if you travel. And we will, even though it's holiday break is coming up, we're going to be on the air with breaking news if it happens. So keep your eye out for Right Side Broadcasting. For now, I am Steve Lookner. Thanks for joining us. Have a great rest of your day, and we'll see you soon.